everybody, in today's episode of Risk Takers, I sit down and chat with somebody I find is very courageous. Somebody who, right out of college, worked a 9-to-5 job that provided him with the benefits to push him in the top 2 percentile of people in the United States. A job that provided him with the income to put him in the golden handcuff. What the golden handcuff is when a job provides you with more than enough benefits so that you won't be tempted to go and look for another job anywhere else. What is so courageous about this person is that even though he could have stayed on at this job for years on and lived comfortably, he chose to venture out on his own after 5 years at the job and go and take the risk to go and start his own hedge fund. And with that, it piqued my interest because not many young people nowadays take the risk to go and do that. And so I got the chance to sit down with this person and pick his brain and ask him why he did what he did and why did he take the risk that he did at the time that he did to go and start his own hedge fund. So it is an honor for me to present to you guys Richard Raizes. Here with me today, I have somebody who is passionate in the cryptocurrency and blockchain space. He is also the fund manager for Plutus 21. Richard Raizes, thank you for sitting down with me today and taking the time to chat with me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Casey. It's good to be here.
So to get started, let's talk about how you got started into cryptocurrency. What opened the door for you?
I was a college student, and one of the things I was passionate about was economics and financial systems and how everything kind of worked together.
Right.
And there was a software guy who was into Bitcoin, UT Austin student, and he introduced me, and I didn't understand it, what this Bitcoin thing was, and at the time it was, no one really understood it except for hardcore tech people. So I didn't do anything with it, but that was when I was first introduced. I was introduced again a couple years later from another very smart, science-minded friend. And then in the early 2017 was when I really took the time to get to know Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies as more than just like a dark web kind of money.
Right.
And so I saw the prices of everything going up early in 2017, and it set off a light bulb in my head. And I was wondering, what is this all about? And I kind of went down the rabbit hole. I just started learning as much as I could about how everything worked. One of the first cryptocurrencies that I learned actually in depth about was Dash, digital cash. And there's there's a lady named Amanda B. Johnson, and she made these educational videos. So that was kind of my way to go down the rabbit hole. Actually, I had met Amanda back in 2012 at that economics conference. So met her 5 years. And then 5 years later, I basically full circle, exactly. We don't even know each other. Just I had walked, she's an acquaintance basically.
Yeah. So what most people probably don't know about you is college student back then. You graduated a little later.
I graduated early actually.
2012.
I graduated in 2013.
2013, yeah. And then you had a job as a.
So I spent 5 years as a corporate and investment banker.
Right. So. What was it that obviously you reintroduced into cryptocurrency 2017? What was it that caused you to be like, I can leave my job, your traditional job for investment banking, and become the fund manager of Plutus 21? What caused you to do that?
Okay, so there was a variety of things.
Okay.
But to keep it somewhat simple, I had been working hard for several years in a couple of different banking jobs. I was in an industry that I can't say I was a complete fan of, but I learned a lot, but I knew I was ready to find something I was truly passionate about.
Right.
I had built up a savings cushion from all of those years. So I was at the right point in my life to take a chance on something new and interesting. And cryptocurrency was the perfect intersection of like finance and internet technologies. I grew up kind of in a my dad is a big internet guy. He's a programmer.
Right.
So I grew up hearing the stories of the .com boom, and I saw that this cryptocurrency boom is like the next
.com boom.
The next .com boom. It's the next generation of the internet, basically.
So
I wanted to be part of it.
Right.
It's a once in a lifetime opportunity.
What would you advise people who are on the edge, or people who want to get into the cryptocurrency space, but don't know if they should fully jump into it, or if they should miss the opportunity? What's your advice for those people?
So my advice for everybody is to start off small, and start off in a small way. So even when I first started looking into cryptocurrency, it was just there's very basic things like getting your first part of a Bitcoin, or making your first transaction. Just like if you're starting off 20 years ago with the internet,
Right.
It's a big deal just to be someone in this new frontier and sending an email. Like sending an email back then, I mean, I was just a little kid, and so were you. But
Yeah.
back then, from what I hear, is very
Difficult?
complicated. There was a lot of steps involved. Well, cryptocurrency and blockchain, this technology, it's just as important as the internet, but it's kind of in these early days where things are clunky and you have to self-educate and just play with it.
Right.
So I recommend people just get a small amount, find someone you know who has some cryptocurrency, maybe try and make a test transaction of $1. In fact, if you haven't done it before, I'm sure you've done it by now, but when I go to meetups, and there's a meetup I co-organize, I give people like $1 worth of Dash and just show them how to do it, because there's nothing better for understanding than playing with it.
Yeah, and you're giving them the experience, and thank you for that. Like, I learned from experience, and like you showing people makes it easier on them rather than like reading it out of a book or watching it somewhere and be like, okay, I know I have to do A and B to get to C, but how do I do it? And there's a lot of questions in that. So really, thank you for that. Also, at these meetups, I'm pretty sure you meet all types of people.
Yep.
What is the most intriguing thing that you found that, like, how is Bitcoin and cryptocurrency bringing all these people together? What's the most intriguing thing you found about that?
So it does bring people from all walks of life, especially at the height of the speculative boom, this last cycle, which was December and January. Just everyone wanted to make a lot of money fast and get rich quick, which there's more to this technology than speculation.
Right.
But I think it's a fundamentally freeing technology, and it's something that will be very, very useful. It's in the early stages right now that it's not so useful, but it's something that will change the world just like the internet did.
Right.
So when you have something that, for example, lets you send and receive money like that to anyone, anywhere in the world, and it's basically free, that's a very empowering technology. So for some people, they came to meetups just because they're investors or speculators. I'm actually mostly in that camp myself as an investor. But other people, they came because they saw it as an opportunity for their own financial freedom, or to be able to have a way to store their own wealth.
Right, and the meetups is a place where they can learn how to get started in it, right? So you basically just answered the question I was going to ask next. It's like, what did you see why do you think cryptocurrency is going to revolutionize how quick we send money and all of that? What you said, it's like instant and it's cheaper, but like, is there any other aspect of it that you think it's going to revolutionize everything?
Yeah, so this gets into the weeds a little bit more than just a beginner, but the first use case of the blockchain was Bitcoin, and Bitcoin allowed people to send and receive money,
right,
or in the form of Bitcoin. But there's other use cases for this technology, and so one of those use cases is internet applications that they kind of look like existing internet applications that you would have on your phone or your computer, but something new is that they can't be turned off. So they can't be censored, and that's what a blockchain enables. So you could have a social media website that is kind of run in a peer-to-peer way. That's what the blockchain does. It's so that no one person can shut it down. So it makes new types of applications that governments and corporations can't shut down. So
not only is it giving people more control over their money, but like social media wise too. And that's something, like, I'm glad you brought that up, because I didn't know about that. And that's so cool though. Like, there's a lot
and by the way, there's there's 100 different use cases.
Right.
So that's just one. There's all kinds of financial use cases. You can put stocks and derivatives and other financial instruments onto a blockchain and transact peer-to-peer. Whereas right now you have to have a bank or a securities company in the middle.
Right.
So it's just a very freeing technology. It allows people to have agreements. You can have a contract that's just a piece of software, and we can agree to anything. You can agree to sell me your cell phone, for $500 in 2 months, and have the ownership of the cell phone automatic. This is in theory, but you could have it transferred to me, and have the payment transferred to you in 2 months automatically. Just because it's a program. So any kind of contract, as simple as just buying and selling something in the future, or entering into a complex legal agreement, or anything. It's all just code.
So based off of our conversation so far, we see why it's revolutionary. Also, why do you think there's so much not many people are believing in it yet? Why is there so much questions in the air about it?
Yeah, so the blockchain is, as I said, it's a bit nebulous to people that haven't used it. So it's just like the internet. You could talk all day long about how the internet is going to do all this stuff. And if you're back in the 1990s, streaming video, YouTube was still more than a decade off.
Yeah.
Facebook was more than a decade
2006.
off. Yeah. Even the online shopping, people were scared to death to put in their credit card info into eBay into the early days. So really, it's going to affect everyone's lives, but most people, if they're not already just interested from either a speculative or an early adopter point of view, most people will just naturally start to use it as it goes mainstream, different applications.
Right.
Just like email was the entry point. It was email, and then it was the web browser, with AOL.
Online shopping now.
Right, but back then it wasn't.
It wasn't.
Back then it was just reading the news on AOL and having an email account.
Right.
Maybe an instant messenger.
So
it'll be these applications that use it, and you won't even know. People won't even know that they're using cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
Even though they are.
So that's one way. Then essentially, people just need to, if they want to test it out, just take the leap instead of holding themselves back.
The earlier that you learn about this technology, the better, because it will change everyone's lives. So you don't want to be that person who's just like in the internet boom, you don't want to be the person who didn't send an email until 2005.
Right.
People were still, handwriting notes and sending them through the snail mail post office system, and things arriving a week or two later. When you could just use email, the same thing. So in the future, when we have kids and stuff, our kids won't have bank accounts in the current form. They'll just have an app on their phone that is their bank account, but they control it, and they can open it in 2 seconds and send money to anyone. Right. Basically, that's what the technology allows.
Do you think there's any risk behind it though?
Yeah, so from an investment standpoint, it's extremely risky. These cryptocurrencies are very volatile. They go up and down. It's not uncommon to see something go up or down 20% plus in a single day. So from an investment standpoint, I would just tell people, and nothing I say is financial advice.
Right.
But
get that out of there. Nothing. He's not trying to advise you. This is his opinion, his thoughts on it.
Yeah.
So from an investment standpoint,
people should only invest what they can afford to lose. But it would be really good to start off investing a laughable amount, $10.
To get to learn how to send the money.
Just like setting up an email account and learning how that works and how it's so much better than snail mail. Just putting in $10 or $50 or $100 and playing with it and getting comfortable with the technology, that's how you get started. And that's how I got started.
Yeah.
I was playing with this stuff for a few months while working in my previous job in very, very small amounts until I got comfortable with it. And then I took as I said, baby steps. So then I eventually, after many baby steps, I took the leap forward to manage cryptocurrency.
So essentially what you're saying, don't fully jump into it with everything and expect everything to go smoothly. Expect for you to make a quick bang really quick.
Right.
So I appreciate that too. It's like, because we went over how you think it's going to be revolutionary and there are risks about it and what are your thoughts on it and all of that. And like I said, I applaud you for going after your goals. Like you said, you weren't fully invested in, you knew how to do, like, that's what you got your degree in, right? But it wasn't like something you completely loved, but then you found the middle towards like cryptocurrency, and then it's like a little finance and all of that.
New technology.
Yeah, and it intrigued you, and you did a jump to what other people our age wouldn't completely do, because that in itself is a risk, right? So I applaud you for that too, and I just want to thank you for sitting down and telling me your views about how you see it and everything. And again, like, thank you for taking the time to sit down with me. I really do appreciate it, Richard.
Thanks for having me.